start the session. Hi everyone, Salesforce admin training, day 90. Let's see what we are going to learn today. We'll quickly go through the previous session overview and we'll talk about how to freeze a user, how to delete a user. Is it possible to delete a user or not? If we are not able to delete the user, what is the reason that we cannot delete the user in Salesforce? And we'll talk about few assignments and we'll see the profile and what are the standard profiles and what are the properties of profiles, how to create a profile, the navigation steps, and then we will create a one profile, the scenario, and then we'll see the today's interview questions. Now, before that, okay, so what did we learn in last session? We have discussed about the users, how to create a users, what is the role, profile, license, and what are the navigation steps to create a user, how to create a multiple users, what are the password policies, how to reset the single user, how to reset a password for multiple users. So these all we have seen. Let's assume that in the Salesforce org, so this is the Salesforce org. In the Salesforce org, we have created a user. Assume that there are 10 users are there. There are 10 users are there. User 1, user 2, user 3, like this, we have 10 users are there. Assume that there is these 5 users are a developer users. These 5 users are developer users. Now these developer users, basically why we need a users here, developer user, in order to implement a certain logic, we needed developers to perform certain action. Assume that user 3 is going for a medical leave. User 3 is going for a medical leave. That means the person is going for around 3 to 4 months medical leave. When this person is going for a medical leave, now should we assign that right now this person is not working. This person is not working. This person is gone for the medical leave. This person is gone for the medical leave. So when this person is gone for the medical leave, why should we keep the active this user? Because the possibility is that if I keep it active for this user, there is a possibility that user 2 log in as a user 3. I can log in as any user. Now, if I go to the user, and if I try to log in as a different user, system admin will have access to log into the any other user. Now, right now we do not have option. Now we will see that later. So for example, there is a possibility that I can log in as a different user. I can log in as a different user. So assume that user 2 can log in as a user 3 and make some changes. Assume that there is an opportunity and this opportunity is having somebody is working on this opportunity. Now, ideally, this opportunity, what are the development work is there? The person has to do this development work on the opportunity. That means this person is implementing certain logic. This person is implementing a certain logic. When this person is implementing a certain logic, but right now it says that this person is on the medical leave. As per the company record, this person is on the medical leave. But how come when the person is on the medical leave, how come this person is able to log in and make changes to the code, right? So there is a possibility that not only the development in the user side also, when the person is not available, and if they are performing any actions, then possible that that user is on vacation or a medical leave, or the person is not available right now, work on it, but somebody has made changes on behalf of that user, right? So we do not want to happen those kind of issues. So that's the reason whenever the person is on the medical leave or when they are in the long leave, that means they are not available more than 15 days. So when their person is not available for more than 15 days, what we can do is instead of deactivating this user, what we can do is we can freeze the user. Freeze the user is nothing but right now this person is not available. Right now this person is not available. That means for time being, for time being, what we are doing is we are just deactivating the user. So I cannot delete the user, right? So the person is still working in the company. Person is still working in the company, but the person is on the medical leave. So in those scenarios, what we can do is we can freeze the user. Freeze the user is nothing but right now the person is not available. He has gone for some medical leave or some long vacation. Once the person is back, then we will unfreeze it. Once the person is back, we will unfreeze it. So we have a freeze, unfreeze. In order to delete or deactivate, in order to do that, we will be doing the freeze, right? So it's similar like you're working in the company, right? For example, you're working in the company called Wipro. When you are working in the company, now you still have a valid access card. Access card still working, right? Access card still working it. But the report, it says that the company report, it says that you are on medical leave. When you are on medical leave, somebody has logged in with your access card. So which is not right, right? So they are going to check with you that did you log into the office on this day? Because the record, it says that it is a right now it is you are on medical leave. So how come you logged in as a office with your access card? So same thing, it is a active, we are keep it active, but right now this person is a not available. In that case, what we will do is we will use the freeze the user. So freeze the user is nothing but temporarily suspending a user. How can we do it? You can go to the navigation steps. So set up administrator user and click on the user record, click on a freeze. Now let's go to the Salesforce. Now let's assume that now here, now what I'll do is I'll click on this Swami, sorry. So Swami Ranga is there, Rangaswamy. Now here I open the user Rangaswamy. Now assume that this person is not available right now. He is on medical leave. When I click on a freeze, that doesn't mean that there is a license which will go away. That doesn't mean that the license which will go away. Now, before that, let me show you. Now, right now, here it says that 2 licenses are used by the Salesforce licenses are used by the Virat Kohli and June batch, right? So this is the June batch and this is the Virat Kohli. So 2 users are using the Salesforce license. Now, if you see in the company information, it says that Salesforce license is already used by the 2 people. Already used by the 2 people. There is remaining licenses are 0. Remaining licenses are 0. Now here we have a remaining licenses are 0. Used licenses are 2. Now in case of it, like if I deactivate the user, now this is Virat Kohli. So what I'll do is I'll click on edit and I'll remove this checkbox. If I remove this checkbox, that means I'm deactivating the user. When I deactivate the users, that means we are removing the license for this user. We are removing the license for this user. Now, if you go to the company information, now remaining license, it will say that there is a 1 license which is pending. 1 license which is pending. Now here, if you see remaining licenses are 1. Because whenever we deactivate the user, that means we are backend, we are taking out the license for this user. We are taking out the license for that particular user. Now, if you want to take out the license for any user, that means they will, once we take out the license, this person will not have any access to the Salesforce. They cannot able to log into the Salesforce and they cannot access the Salesforce. Now, in that case, that means we are completely removing the user. So deactivate is nothing but you need to uncheck this active checkbox, so that what will happen, we will take out the license for this user. Now the user will not be able to log into the Salesforce, and the license will be back to the Salesforce org. Now if you again click on edit, and if you say here, now I'm going to activate it. Now I'm going to activate it. So once I activate it, now if I refresh, the remaining license will be 0. The Salesforce license for the remaining license is 0. Now here it says 0 license. Use license is 2. So when you deactivate it, license will go away. It shows here license, but at the back end, Salesforce is going to remove the license for this person. You can do how many times deactive, active, you can do it. But you might ask that, now instead of a freeze, can you deactivate it? Instead of freeze, can you deactivate it? So when we deactivate it, what will happen is the license will go away, right? So assume that this person is on leave for 3 months. When this person on leave for 3 months, there is a possibility that there is a one more developer might be joining. There is a new joinee will be joining the company. New developer will be joining the company. When the new developer joined the company, now assume that there are only 5 Salesforce licenses are there. Now, if you deactivate this third user, okay, and right now another developer is joined the company. When the developer joined the company, now we will assign another license to this person. When we deactivate it, there is a license will go away for this user 3. So whoever is joining the new developer, we will assign the license to this person. Now, after 3 months, when this person is back, then we will suffer about we cannot activate this person because license is already utilized. We can wait for the license for the new user because the new user, new developer is yet to be logged into the system, right? So that can be, we can wait on that. So we can talk to the Salesforce and get the access. But in this case, what will happen suddenly if so many members are joined? So in that case, we will forget about whoever is on the medical leave. We will forget about that person. We will forget about that person, right? So it happens because in the company, so many members will be working on it. So it happens sometimes. So that's the reason we want the license to be utilized for the dev 3, the user 3, but right now freeze it. Do not remove the license. It's similar like do not remove the access card for this person. Let keep the access card for this person. He is still active person for the company, but only the thing is that he's not available right now. Same thing with the here also. This license we should be assigning to the user 3. Do not remove the license for this user, right? Do not remove the license for this user. Keep the license for this user, but just freeze it. Do not deactivate it. Right? So you can do it multiple times, deactive, active, you can do it. But in case if you want to freeze it, for example, this is the user is not available. Now I'll click on this freeze. Now this is the charter free, right? So if I go back to the company information, now I have a charter free users, right? So charter free users are 4 are used. Now 4,996 are there. Now what I'll do, I'll click on the freeze. If I click on the freeze, that means this user is not available, but do not take out the license. It still shows the 4. We are not taking out the license. Now here, if you click on show more, now charter free still shows the 4 and remaining is still shows the 4,996. Right, so this is freeze. Now let's assume that if you want to log in as another user, If you want to log in as another user, how can you log in? Now, right now it shows only the edit option here. Right now it shows only the edit option. But as a admin, what we need is in the real time. In the real time, admin or a developer, sometimes they need to log in as a customer or a whoever is the end user is there, or some different users, they wanted to log in as that user in order to check certain scenarios or in order to recreate the issue for that by logging in as that user. So how can we log in as that user? Now here edit option is not available. Login option is not available. Only edit option is available. So in that case, what you can do is search here login access policy. Login access policy, and here you have a administrator can log in as any user. Just enable this. Administrator can log in as any user. Just enable this and click on save. Now let's go back to the users. Now you can see here, login option is available. Login option is available. Now for charter free, we do not have a login access, only for the Salesforce. And if you change, for example, I'm going to change the live profile for this user. Let's say here, edit. Now let's say I wanted to change the license for this user. So license is a Salesforce platform, and the platform user, click on save. Click on save. Now this is, right now it says a freeze, but if I still try to log in, now there is a login history will be tracked. Login history will be tracked. Now they are going to track the login history here. Now sometimes what happens is, especially the client, what they will do is whenever the user is on the freeze, or whenever the user is not available, or sometimes whenever you are logging into as a different user, they will track it like when this user is logged in and when this user is logged out. Now here I'm able to log in as a different user. I'm able to log in as a different user, but the person is in the freeze. The person is in the freeze. That means if the person is trying to log in, they cannot log in with the credentials. If they are trying to log in, they are not able to log in as a credentials. Now they are going to check here users. Now click on the users. Now let's say here, assume that user is this Rangaswamy. Now here login history. Let's go to the login history. Now it doesn't say anything. The person is not yet logged in, right? So what I did, admin has logged in here. Admin has logged in. It will show only when you enter the username and password. Now let me show you mine. Let's assume that Virat Kohli, right? So Virat Kohli login history is yesterday. This is yesterday, 8:51 yesterday, IST. Now, if I try to log in as this user, it will not track the information. But if I log in as, now let me go to the incognito. Now I'm opening this. Now let's enter the information. The username is this. And now I'm logging in as the different person. Now I'm logged in as a Virat Kohli, right? So if you check here, now this is a Virat Kohli, and if I refresh this, now if you see the login history, now it shows here today. So this is the source IP address, and this is the browser, and this is the logged in user from which location the person has logged in, from which location the person has logged in. So sometimes what happens is not only the client in the company, what they will do is in the company, they will track it. Like whenever the new developer is joined the company for almost 6 months, there is a possibility that they might check that from which location, which IP address you are logging into the Salesforce. So they are logging into the Salesforce. So the login IP address, they will check it. So in case if you have logged in with a different IP address and the different location, the company people might raise it like from last a few days you are logging into the one location, but yesterday you might have logged in from the different location. What might be the reason? So they might ask you the information. So that's the reason, careful about the login history, right? So you cannot delete the login history information. You cannot delete the login history information. If you have provided your credentials to somebody, they might be logging into your org. So, and that time the source IP address and the location will be different, right? So that's usually happens in the company. So they will track it. Only a few teams will track it, not everybody. So if they have any questions on the new developer, so that time what they will do is they will go and check the information. They will check the information when they have logged in and when they have logged out. So everything they are going to check the information. This is a login time. Now, also you can see, you can download it from last 6 months. It is going to show the information from the last 6 months. What is the login time if you wanted to track it? Then it is going to show the information. Right, so this is how it happens. Now let's assume that if I try to log in as this user, if I try to log in as this user, now Virat Kohli, I'm logging in. So whenever I log in as a admin is logged in as a another user on the top level. So on top, we have a information as a which user I have logged in, as a which user I have logged in. So here it is going to show you that as a which user you have logged in. Now let's assume that if I click on in logout, if I click on in logout, immediately my session is also logged out. Immediately my session is also logged out. So what I need to do, I need to re-log in the Salesforce. In case if I do not want to see if I do not want to log out as my session, whenever I log out as another user, I do not want to log in my session. In that case, there is a few setup which is available, session settings. Session settings. So for session settings, now let's say here, for session settings, now here we have a force logout on the session timeout. Now this is for the session timeout. There will be another one, force re-login. Force re-login after the user. Now if you select this, if you unselect this, force re-login after the login as a user. Now I'll unselect that and click on a save. Click on save. Now what I'll do, I'll click on a refresh. Again, I'm going to log in as a Virat Kohli. Now click on this login. I logged in as a Virat Kohli. Then you click on it, log out as a Virat Kohli. So when I log out, now it is automatically re-login is happening. Automatically re-login is happening. So that option which is available in the session setting. Session setting, if you enable this force re-login after login as a user, if you enable this, what will happen is if you try to log in as another user, If you try to log in as another user and now if you try to log in and click on the logout as a Virat Kohli, now it will be automatically logged out, right? So this option, which will you need to deselect it in case if you want automatically log in as yours. Now, the reason there is a possibility that in the Salesforce, we cannot able to log in as a different user. We cannot delete a user. There is a possibility that in Salesforce, we can deactivate it, we can freeze it, we can do whatever we want, but we cannot delete the user. Once we create the user in Salesforce, we cannot delete it. We cannot delete the user. Once a user is created in Salesforce, users cannot be deleted in the Salesforce. Instead of that, we can deactivate the user. That means once we deactivate the user, license will be released from that deactivate user. Right? So what is the purpose that why we cannot delete the user in Salesforce? The reason is each user is connected to a specific role. Whenever we create a user, now that time we will specify the role, right? Certain level or certain access we will be providing it. So once a user is created in the Salesforce with a certain role, they will be performing some action, right? So they will be creating the records. So whenever they create a records in the Salesforce, what will happen created by is the person name. Similarly, whatever the action the Salesforce is performing it, everything linked to that user. Everything is linked to that user. Now, if I delete this user, the related data will be something, it will be disturbed, right? So it will be deleting the user from Salesforce can entirely corrupt the system or corrupt the data, or it might delete the data. Some data might be deleted, some data might be there. So we are going to disturb the data in Salesforce. So that is the reason we cannot delete the user in Salesforce. We can deactivate it, we can freeze it. And the related data would be also be, now what are the related data? For example, if account is created by this user, account has a related data. Assume that like account is connected to the contact, right? So account is connected to the opportunity, account is connected to the lead, account is connected to the lead, and then account is connected to the case. So these are the related cases will be there. Now, if I'm deleting the user, account will be disturbed and all the related data will be disturbed in the system. That means entire data will be corrupted in the Salesforce. So that's the reason we will not be deleting the users in Salesforce. Everything is linked with the Salesforce, right? Take a notes of it. Is that clear? Is there any chance to account or deactivate status to active? Is that clear? Okay. Let me know once you are done with taking the notes. Done. Okay. So let's go for an assignment. Now, yesterday you guys have created the users, right? So in that user, there are 3 users. Freeze the existing users in Salesforce. Freeze the existing users in Salesforce. So the users are Prahalada Joshi, username is another username Anurag Singh, another username Kumar Shah. So these users, freeze it. Take notes of it. Now let's move on. The next one is profile. Let's talk about the profile. Now, profile determines what is the profile. Yesterday we have discussed about the profile. What is the profile?
Profile determines what user can do.
So profile determines what user can do in Salesforce. That means using the profile, we can control the accessibility of the Salesforce data, right? While creating the user, if I assign a profile, if I assign a profile, that means what user can do in the Salesforce system. That means what is the user can control, the controlling accessibility in the Salesforce data related action, everything what this user can perform it is decided by the profile. Now here controlling the accessibility of the Salesforce data and its related actions. There are 2 types of profile. One is a standard profile and the second one is custom profile. There are 2 types of profiles. One is a standard profile and the second one is custom profile. Now, if you go to the profiles, now navigation steps to create a profile is just search here profile. You will be able to find the profiles here. Now, there are total 39 profiles are there. There are total 39 profiles are there. And out of this, 4 are a custom profile. Salesforce is providing the standard profile as well as the custom profile. For the custom profiles, we can delete it, but standard one, we cannot delete it. Standard profiles, we cannot delete it. This is in the developer edition. We have a 39 profiles. Possibility that in the real time, you might not see 39 profiles. In real time, you will not see all 39 profiles. Hardly you will see 12 profiles that is provided, 10 profiles that is provided by the Salesforce. It's all based on the license. Based on the license, how many profiles. So by default, Salesforce is going to provide for an unlimited or an enterprise edition. Hardly they will provide it. So 10 profiles they will provide it, right? So those are again based on the license. What are the license that Salesforce is providing for the client or the new real-time org? Based on that license, we can see the profile. Now standard profiles here. Now the standard profiles are by default, Salesforce provides the below standard profiles. Now we will see what are those profiles. And we cannot delete the standard profiles. We cannot delete the standard profiles. And each of the standard one includes a default set of permission for all of the standard objects available on the platform. So every standard profile, the default permission set, what are the default permission sets are there? Those are only for the standard objects available on the Salesforce org. Custom profiles are nothing but which are defined by the internal Salesforce team. That means whether it is an admin or a dev. Either it could be custom profiles are created by the admin or custom profiles are created by the dev based on the requirement. Based on the requirement, they will be creating the profile. And these custom profiles can be deleted if there are no users are assigned to the particular one. Now in the Salesforce, every user is associated to the profile. Every user is associated to the profile. Now here, whenever we create a user, every user is associated to the profile. Now assume that this is a custom profile which I have assigned to the user. This is a custom profile which is assigned to the user. Now, if I wanted to delete this, if I want to delete the custom profile, whenever we wanted to delete the custom profile, the first step is we need to check, is there any users are assigned to this custom profile? Is there any users are assigned to this custom profile? If there are a users to assign this custom profile, then first of all, we need to remove those profiles. We need to remove the profiles for this custom profile. We need to remove the profile, then we have to delete the custom profile. Then we have to delete the custom profile. So whenever you are deleting the custom profile, the first thing is that we need to remove the users that are assigned to the custom profile, then we can delete it. Right? So in order to identify the custom or a standard profile, so if you go to the profile level, so this column is going to explain about whether it is a standard profile or a custom profile. Wherever the checkbox is there, that means these are the custom one. Custom profile. These are the custom profile. Wherever it is a standard profile, that means we have this is disable checkbox. This is disable checkbox, which is having the standard profile. Right. So this column is going to decide whether it is a standard profile or a custom profile. And each profile will be assigned to a license. Now here is the license. Right. So this is the user license. Now we can create a for single license, we can create a multiple profiles. Single license, we can create a multiple profiles. Now here we have a Salesforce license. Now Salesforce license is associated to the multiple profiles. Right? So this is license. Now this license does not depend on how many profiles can I create it? It does not depend. Only the dependency is how many users can I create it per single user. How many users can I create it for this license there is a limitation. But single license, you can create a multiple profiles. Single license, you can create a multiple profiles. There is a no dependency here. Now, if you see this license, Salesforce license, we have a standard user, contract manager, marketing user, custom support profile, marketing profile, custom sales profile, read-only solution, minimum access, system administration, right? So there are different profiles we have created. It is already created by the Salesforce. So there is no hard rule that how many profile can I create it. There is no limitation on that. You can create a n number of profiles for a single license, but it's all depending on your requirement. If you really need a custom profile for this license, then only you can create a profile, a custom profile. Now let's see that few standard profiles. What are the standard profiles that are available? Now let's say system administrator. Now we have a profile called system administrator. Now, before that, take a notes of this profiles, standard profile, custom profiles. Take a notes of this. Done. Taken the notes of it. Okay, now let's see which one do I need to repeat regarding the profile. Now I covered so many things in the profile. Which one do you want me to recover? For single license, for example, here we have a license. So license is Salesforce license, right? So this is the Salesforce license. If you go to the company information, you can see what are the licenses are available. So one of the licenses Salesforce license. Now Salesforce license, for single license, you can create a n number of profiles. There is no dependency. Now, if I click on this new profile, it will give you the option again. Now, do you want to create a Salesforce license? Now, if I take here system administrator copy, now it is going to give me that license is Salesforce license. That means n number of profiles can be created for a single license. But it's all depending on do you need a really a custom profile for this Salesforce. In the real time, you will have hardly 10 profiles will be there. Right, so here, let's say for example, right, now let's see that standard profile. Now for the standard profile, let's say here system administrator. So system administrator is nothing but, for system administrator will have a maximum permissions and access to the platform, and we can configure and customize the Salesforce application according to the specific need and preferences. Now here we have one of the profile which is called as a system administrator profile. So system administrator profile means it has a full access, whether it is a standard application, custom application, standard object, custom object, everything it will be having a maximum permission. The full permissions will be there. Maximum permission, the full permissions will be there for the system administrator. Now, if I go back to the profiles, in the profiles, we have a standard platform, right? So there are standard platform. Let's say here, select the S. Now we have a standard platform user, right? Standard platform user is nothing but we can use more than one custom application. Now here, if you open the standard platform user, so standard platform user is mostly for the applications, and also it will have access to the installed applications, and custom application, it is very rare to have access, right? And the custom object, you might not be having the access to the custom object. You will not have access to the custom object, and standard object will have only the read, create, edit permission for the standard platform. Standard platform user, we will use this more than one custom application installed in the Salesforce App Exchange or a developer org. Now, similarly, we have a few more profiles, like let's go to the S. There is another one, standard user is there, right? Standard user is nothing but if I assign the standard user to the standard user profile to the users, what it does is it will allow to create or edit the record once that they are owned. And that means if I assign this profile, now whatever the records are created by that user, only those records they will be able to edit. Now let's assume that if I'm creating the Let's assume that I'm creating the record. Or let's log in as another user. For example, this is the Virat Kohli. Now, whatever the records that are created by this user, now I'm creating the one record, new case. Now, if I'm creating the new case here, whatever the record is created by this user, only that particular record will be having a access. That record will be having a access. Right, other users like a admin users, whoever is the admin is created the user. Now that user they cannot create, they will not have a access to view the users. Now this is the system admin users which we have provided. So this person can see all the information. This person can see all the records that are available for the admin, all the records this person can see. Right, same, exactly the same information. But if I assign a standard user platform, standard user profile, then what will happen is this user will have access to only the records that are created by them, will be able to edit or modify the records, and by default they will have a account, right? So only few objects they have a access. Custom object, they do not have a access to the custom object. Now, similarly, customer community. Let's say that there is a customer community is there. So customer community users, right? So we have a customer community user, customer community login user, customer community plus login user. So basically customer community users is nothing but if I assign this profile to the user, now it will allow the user to log into Salesforce community. So there are few, this is the internal. So usually in the real time, whatever the Salesforce you are able to see, so this Salesforce is used by the internal team. But assume that there are some partners or a customers who wants to access certain objects. So in that case, we will not give access to this Salesforce. We will create a separate community, which is called as some different page will be created. This page is called as a community page, which is called as a community. Now, whenever you have implemented or in the real time, whenever you are implemented the community, so that time what will happen is for all these community users, we will assign either customer community user, customer community login user, customer community plus login user, customer community plus user. So basic one is customer community user. And if you want an additional access, you have to go for a plus. If you go for a plus, then they will have a additional access to that. Right? And a few more, like we have, let's say, solution manager. So solution manager is nothing but this profile is similar to the standard user. The standard user which we have discussed, similar to the standard user. Additionally, it will allow to review publish the specific solution that is available. Then we have a marketing users, right? So marketing users, if you wanted to perform any related to the marketing activities, or if you want a user to manage all the marketing activities, then what we will do is we will provide the marketing user profile to the user. We will assign the marketing user profile to the user. Now, similarly, we have a contract manager, contract user. These are the related to the contract that allows to create edit activity or something related to the contract activities. If we wanted to perform it, then we will have a contract manager. Now, assume that if you want, I wanted to give the access to the Salesforce, but it should have only the read-only access. That means they should not be having a edit access, delete access, no actions. They cannot do anything. Only they can view the records. They cannot even create the records. They can only read the records. In that case, I will give the read-only access. Right. So these are the different profiles which we have it. These are different profiles which we have. Now, every profile has a certain meaning on it. Whatever the Salesforce by default providing it, every profile will have a certain meaning to it. Now that means system administrator is which is the highest one. System administrator is which is the highest one. Now system administrator is nothing but full access. If I assign the system admin profile to anybody, they will be able to get a full access. Then at the low level, we have a minimum access. At the low level, we'll have a minimum access. Minimum access is nothing but very less object they can access. Very less objects they can access. In between this, now we have a so many profiles are there. Now every profile, now we have in the developer org, there are 39 profiles are there. In the real time, we might see the 10 or 20 or 5, possible that 5 based on the license, you can see the profiles. Now, out of these profiles, every profile has a certain access level, certain restriction is available. Let's assume that I have received a requirement from the client. The requirement is, let's say requirement is, Salesforce says that client will says that, okay, we wanted to have access to the account. The user should be able to create, read, edit, right? So they can do this information. Now, similarly, contact, they should be able to contact, they should be able to read, create, edit, delete option, they can do it. And then rest all should be read only. Rest all should be read only. Rest all should be read only. Right. So in that case, so which profile do I need to assign for this user? So for this user, we need to assign a profile. Let's say here I'm creating they need a user, and this user should have access to the only these objects, should have access to the only this account and contact. Rest all should be everything should be read-only access. Everything should be read-only access. Right? In that case, what we will do is we will see that which profile is near to this. Which profile near to this. System admin will have a full access. System admin will have a full access. They will have a full access to their system admin. Minimum access is very less access will be there. In between this, we have a few more profile which is called as a read-only access. Few more which is having a read-only access. Now I can check here, there is a rest all should be the read-only. That means read-only means everything should be having a read access. Now I can take a copy of this and create a new profile, and I can enable the account object, create, read, edit. Contact is CRUD options. Contact is CRUD option, right? So we need to identify which profile is near to this, because whenever we create a profile, whenever we create a new profile, I cannot create a profile from the scratch. I cannot create a profile from the scratch. I need to, whenever we are creating a profile, we have to clone the profile. We have to clone the profile. Existing profile, we need to clone it. We need to clone the existing profile. And then based on the existing profile, we need to create a new profile. I cannot create a new profile from the scratch, which is not possible. Now I need to create a new profile. For whenever I'm creating the new profile, I need to choose the existing profile, and based on that profile, on top of it, we can make a changes to the profile. On top of it, we can make a changes to the profile. Right, so this is how in the real time we will do it. So because sometimes what will happen is I cannot modify to the standard profile. So standard platform user is another standard profile, right? So standard platform user. Now, if I wanted to modify the standard, this is the standard profile. This is a standard profile provided by the Salesforce. Provided by the Salesforce. Now, if I wanted to modify this, like everything, I need to make it as a read only. I cannot do that in the standard profile. I cannot do that in the standard profile because this profile is provided by the Salesforce. I cannot make any changes to this, to object level or to other level. I cannot make a changes to this. So we need to create a new profile whenever we get a requirement from the client. Now, if any of this requirement does not match with the existing profile, we need to create a new profile by cloning the existing nearest profile. So for example, if I clone the system admin, I need to make every object as a read only, right? And only account and contact should be create, read, edit. Now it is going to take time for me to check everything because system admin is nothing but all the access is available. Instead of taking the system admin profile clone, I can take a clone of read only access or a minimum access. If either of this one profile, if I take it, so what we can do is I can make a minimum changes to the new profile and we can provide that profile to the Salesforce. We can provide that profile to the Salesforce. So this is how we do it in the real time. Any questions? Any questions? In the team means, which one you are talking about? In the team means? Or in the development team you are talking about? Development team will have a same access. Development team, whoever is development working, they will be having a same access. Just a second. So yeah, without profile, we cannot create a user. If you want to create a user, profile is mandatory. You cannot create a user. So without profile, you cannot create a user. So while creating the user, profile has to be there. Profile has to be there. Now, properties of profile. Now, profile cannot be created from the scratch, but can be created by copying the existing profile. Existing profile could be a standard and could be a custom profile. right? Profiles are license dependent. Based on the license, you can create a profile. So one user can have one profile. Each user will be associated to the one profile. Each user associated to the one profile. Whereas one profile can have multiple users. Assume that here I have a user. So user will be connected to a single profile. Now, but profile can connect to the multiple users. Profile can connect to the multiple users. This is the user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4. Multiple users. Profile is connected to the multiple users, but user is connected to the single profile. Single profile. Here, how can you check that what are the users are assigned to this profile? So you can cross verify it. Now, if you go to the system admin, let's go to the system admin. Now here, if I go to the system administrator, and if I check this view users, on the profile level, we have a button called view users. By clicking on this view users, I can see that how many users are assigned to this particular profile. How many users are assigned to this particular profile. Right, we can see in case
one doubt.
Create a new user from the profile level, you can create it. And you can assign to the profile. Yes, any questions?
Yeah, ma'am, here in this license, the system administrator, we can assign only two users.
In developer edition, yes.
In developer edition, but the system administrator, we can clone it as some other profile and we can assign it.
Yeah, you can clone the profile. So we will see that tomorrow, cloning the profile. So
that time, that limitation we can like system administration only we can assign it to the two users. If you clone the system administrator one more time, and we can assign it to the third user also.
Yes, we can do that. So we will see the requirement. So right now what we have, system administrator will have two users are assigned to the system administrator. Assume that I do not want Virat Kohli to access all the applications. Like right now, Virat Kohli is able to access. Now, if I go to the application here. Now,
if you want to override the.
So you see that all the applications are accessed by the Virat Kohli. Now, I do not want all the applications to be accessed by the Virat Kohli. So in that case, what I'll do is I'll remove the system admin access for Virat Kohli, and I'll create a new profile, which is the same as a system administrator, but I'll remove those few applications. Let's say here that I'm going to create a new profile. Let's say that the requirement is I need to create a Tata sales admin. Let's see that requirement. Now the requirement is create a new profile, Tata sales admin, and create a new profile where this profile should have a following access: sales lightning application, marketing lightning application. Only two applications they needs to have. Now click on this new profile. Now when I click on this new profile, now I wanted to take a copy of this system administrator. When I take a copy of this system administrator, now the license is Salesforce license and the profile name is Tata sales admin. Tata sales admin. Now if I click on save, now this profile is similar to the system admin. I'm copying the system admin and creating the new profile, which is called as a Tata sales admin. And the license is Salesforce license. Salesforce license. Now, in this case, I do not want all the applications to be accessed by the Virat Kohli. Right now, here, all the applications are accessed. Now, what I'll do here, I'll edit this profile. I'll edit the profile. Now, let's say here, we have a applications. Now, assume that Now this is the custom app settings. In this custom app settings, I'll remove, let's skip all the tabs. Now I'll remove all the applications, whatever the application that is accessed by the Virat Kohli. I do not want Virat Kohli to access all the applications. Only the application that we want is sales application and then marketing application. Now, where is the marketing application? This is the sales, right? So sales default, it should be the sales application. And then we want the marketing application. Now here is the marketing application visible. Now only these two things which I needed and all the tabs should be visible. Now let's click on save. Let's click on save. Now what are the new profile which I have created? Now what I'll do is the user is Virat Kohli. Now for this user, I'll remove the system admin and I'll assign the new profile that is created right now, Tata Sales Admin. Click on this users and then edit. Now I'm going to assign profile. For Salesforce license, I'm going to assign another profile which is called as a Tata Sales Admin. Now in this case, if I go to the view users, I can see one user is assigned to the Tata Sales Admin. But if I go to the another profile, which is a system admin profile, if I go to the system admin profile, only one user is assigned to the system admin profile. Now if I click on this S, now here we have a system administrator. Now if I click on this system administrator, now click on the view users, now we have only one user. So there is a possibility that license is the same, but profile is a different. Why we are creating a different profile? Because the access which we need is a different access which we need. We need a different access. Virat Kohli should have a different access and whoever is the admin is there, the admin should have a different access. In that case, we will create a profile. Now, if I see here, if I see view all, now the person is able to access only the marketing. Now sales is not displaying it. Now let's go ahead and change that. Let's go back, Tata Sales Admin. Click on this edit. Now let's say here sales console, I'm going to give sales console. Right, so let's say here click on it, save. Right, so license is same, but it define that. Now assume that there are two users are there for the license. There are two users are there, user 1 and user 2. License is same. License is just what kind of a level of access that they are going to get it. But what they can do is decided by the profile. Now user 1 can have a different profile for the same license. Now user 2 can have a different profile for same license. Right? These two are a different profiles, but these two profiles are assigned to the same license. Now there is a possibility is there. So right now, whatever we have created, now Virat Kohli, we do not want to access everything. In that case, what we have done is we have given only specific which we have given. So sales console and the marketing. So only two which we have given.
So here, ma'am, assume that in Salesforce we have only two license, means two users we can assign the two user limitations is there. So we can assign the license for the two users.
Right.
And if you want to assign a third user, the Salesforce license, so we have to create a new, means we have to clone the profile and so we can assign that license.
No, you cannot even create a third user.
Okay. So how many profiles if we create also, we should not override the limitations of the user in that particular license.
User license is a different. So if you just understand this, so basically here we have it. The name of the license is user license. Now there are two words are there. Now this defines how many users can I create it per single license. How many users can I create it for the single license? It doesn't say that how many profiles can I create it. In the company information, if you go to the company information, it says user license. How many users can I create it for a license? Profile, it doesn't care about the profile. You can create maximum how many profiles you want, you can create it.
Yeah, understood now, ma'am. So we cannot override the user licenses.
Yes, there is, you cannot do that actually. If
Yeah.
you try to do that also, it is not
Yeah,
possible.
that's why that is my doubt. Now it's clear. Thank you.
So the whoever is the person named Yadav. So we cannot create a license. License, we will not create it. License is provided by the Salesforce. We cannot create a license. License, we cannot create it. Is that your question? Okay. So license and users are linked to each other. License and users are linked to each other, right? But profile, you can create as many as profiles you want, you can create it. Why we have a flexibility to create a profile? Because there is a possibility that what user can do is can be limit based on this. User can limit what they can do here, right? So there is a possibility that I might need to create a profile. So in that scenario, we have to create a profile. So profile does not have a limitations. Is that clear? Okay. Now that's all we have. Now tomorrow we will see few more topics about the creating the users, right? So creating the profile. So we will little more talk about the profile, what all we can do it. So that's all for today. Interview question. Now interview questions are, can I delete a user in Salesforce? How to freeze a user and how to unfreeze a user? What is profile? What are the different profiles and what are the purpose of the profile IDs? What are the purpose of each profile? Now you can randomly, you can pick any 5. So what are the different profiles? Any 5 you can pick it up, and what is the purpose of each profile? And how to create a new profile, how to assign a user to profile, and how many profiles can be created for a single license. These are the interview questions. Take a notes of it. Fine, these are the interview questions. So practice today interview questions. Okay then, yeah, thank you.